Dysfunctional is a word that is used increasingly in our modern vocabulary, and it implies the idea that something doesn't function. But how can things function when we don't choose function over perfection? You know, one of our biggest struggles is that we have conflicting goals. You cannot choose perfection and expect to be functional. But you can expect to be functional if you choose function, and if you shy away from and avoid the attempts at perfection. The biggest reason why we are duped in this way is the fact that we do not know what perfection is, nor can we create it for ourselves. Nature, or just the way things are, will create perfection. In the way, but not in the way that we expect. In the way that a beaver dam is perfect. In the way that a redwood forest is perfect. In the way that a spider's web is perfect. It's perfect because it functions, because it works. And when seen from a broader perspective, we see the beauty. The spider may not see the beauty in its web, but someone who can see something more than the spider's web sees beauty. Today, most households have given up on function. It is expected that a household will be dysfunctional to some degree or another. But this does not have to be the case if you choose function, if you don't have a double motive. But to do so, you'll have to give up on perfection. You'll have to do what works, and you'll have to allow yourself to be stripped of all of the imaginations and golden idols in your mind, and be brought down to simplicity. As far as possessions, you may have to come to have far less. As far as expectations, even less. But it is possible. My only fear is that functionality exists on a level so much lower than what the modern world is striving toward, that it usually takes a great deal of disaster to bring a person to where they are willing to figure out what actually works and what functions. A good example is, of how we've gone astray, but also of wherein we might find the light, is a common phrase that we use when we consider our finances and when we consider economy. We often say, can I afford it? Or what I can afford. When we talk about a house, we say, well, I can afford that house or I can't afford that house. Now the question is, when you say, can I afford that house? What you're probably thinking is, can I afford the payment? Well, that's that is so far out of the realm of function that it's hard to even imagine coming down to what the words actually mean. Can I afford it means, can I afford it? In other words, can I pay for it? And so the house of today, when all you have in your pocket is a few $100s, might be a camper that you picked up on Craigslist at a super deal that needs a lot of work because it's a little trashed, but not completely. But it's only in that kind of bare bones simplicity that we can begin to find anything that really functions. But there is, once you find it, great beauty. But it's a beauty all its own. It's a beauty which fits into a grand and larger design. And it has as its premise the idea that what you have today in the way of aptitude, in the way of possessions, and when I say possessions, I mean what you can really say is yours, which is a lot less than you think, and what you have in the way of spiritual resources, it is it begins with having that be, those meager means be enough. And then it follows by not worrying about accumulating anything more, but simply taking care of what you've been given. If you can do that, then you have a hope of being functional. It is possible. And if you become truly functional, you will discover, though ragtaggle you may be, that you truly are something beautiful. God bless you. The Trackless Path.